and I've had my 5.5 years, something like that. And I see a lot of families, so I'm also specially trained in animals. So I have a lot of dogs and babies in my office, but I don't really have like a specific niche. I'm not like a sports chiropractor. I practice corrective care. So Gonstead is sort of the umbrella that I focus under. So it's just really working on getting people as healthy as possible and focusing on doing that by improving the health of their spine and the shape of their spine. So a lot of people have a lot of issues with the curves in their spine. It's like its own epidemic, in my opinion. And so really all different age and types of patients, tech workers, athletes, kids, babies. It's not like a niche practice necessarily. It's just
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And like, what was, could you walk me through like your situation before like we even met, like just where you were at, how the past year was, kind of the struggles you had, that kind of deal?
Yeah. I mean, I've had a good amount of success prior, and then I just went through a really rough year last year. I had like my mom got pretty sick. I spent like a lot of time traveling to actually where you're at, Dallas, to do some training, get the animal certification. And I just, what I've learned is that in business, there's no guarantees, and there's like upturns and downturns, and growth isn't necessarily linear. So I just had been in kind of like a rough year, and it was just wearing on me. And so it was sort of when I met you, I was just at this point where I really needed to like somehow just get momentum going in a different direction, because I've had a lot of momentum. Like it wasn't going terribly, it just wasn't going the way that I wanted it to be. And it had gone bad previously. So it's never a good feeling when you've had like a certain amount of growth and then have that kind of like diminish. And so I just needed to reset at some point.
Yeah, no, for sure. What was it like you were not able to do because of like your practice being more stagnant, or what did you have to kind of take a slow down on in the growth of your practice?
It was the financial strain of it. It just is like I had a really strong year in 2022, which is great. Also, I will say the caveat there is like I was only 3 years into practice at that point, and I think what I've learned and what I've talked to other people is sort of have like these blooms. So I had this really big bloom, seen a lot of growth that year, and then I decided to expand my office to the barbershop next door. So I put a lot of resources into like literally doubling the square footage of my practice, and it's beautiful and I love it. But the rent went up, and the other thing that happened last year is I had like this vandalism. So I have these gigantic windows in my office, and one of them got smashed, and it was just like a huge expense trying to get that thing fixed. And so it was just like feeling really limited by, just like basically every month just being kind of like freaked out, like, oh my God, is it going to work out this month? Am I going to be able to afford things I need to afford? And so the challenge there is like, I love chiropractic and I love seeing patients and doing what I do. And when the stress of money is present, it's really, really hard to, I know it's possible, but it's really difficult to like focus on what I love when I'm panicking about making overhead, basically.
Did you find that was like impacting like patients, or like how you were treating them, or like?
I mean, probably. I mean, I'd like to think not. Like I don't think I treated them differently, but I totally believe in the energy of just life, and I just was in this contracted place. I was just really stressed out. There'd been a lot of difficult things that happened, and I think they're all for a purpose, I think I'm out of that right now, but it's, it still wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, for sure. No, and that can stick around, like the emotions, the stressors, and like definitely take some time to kind of get through. What was like, how did you find out about us, and like what was like the initial, and the way you found out it's going to be different from other people for sure, but like what was like your initial thought when you first learned about, when we first met, you first like learned about what we do, that kind of deal?
So I have done online marketing similar, like I've run ads on Facebook and Instagram a couple different times previously, and it's sort of like this, it's this thing where it's like, it seems like it sounds like a great idea. I'd be like, it's so nice that we could just work, and I'd had some success in the past that was like never very consistent. And anyway, so I ended up always deciding it wasn't worth it. And then when I think the way you reached out was you were doing something with Life West business class, which is like where I graduated from, which I think is very clever now. And so one thing I will say, I've learned a lot from you guys so far that is different than other marketing companies I work with. There's a lot of like training behind like, okay, so you're essentially creating this avenue for like new patients to come into my practice. And you're also making sure that I have unique tools, some things that I haven't necessarily tried before, to make sure that I can like keep those patients in my practice. Because it's like one thing to get them to come in, but then like it's sort of like my responsibility to get them to stay, I guess. I don't know. I just honestly, like, you're a really good person. I got that vibe from you immediately. And
Yeah.
and I was like, I was reluctant to do it again because I've done it before, you know, and it always requires like putting money in the mix. And I was like feeling like I didn't have a lot to spend. I mean, I didn't, but it just, anyway, so I feel like, I just like the way that you guys, I mean, it seems like I know you went to chiropractic school for a little while. I just got this sense that you guys really were all about chiropractic. And I know that you specifically have, I mean, not maybe you work a lot with practices that aren't cash-based, and it's really more about like optimizing health, and it's not necessarily focused only on symptoms and stuff like that. So that was all really appealing to me. So, because that was sort of one of the challenges of the company that I worked with before, is that they're running ads that were so symptom-focused that, I mean, everyone's in chiropractic they heard, we all know that, but it just was like, it made it harder for me to kind of like convert those patients into like wellness patients if they were coming in with very specific like pain.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
No, that makes so much sense. There's no right answer. No, just being honest is the right answer.
Okay.
What got you to give the, like, specifically like with the referral campaign, what got you to give that a shot anyways, even though all these doubts were, you know, with different companies you work with, different things you tried? Because I know there were some things we challenged you in, and like pricing for the referrals, the different pieces we implemented. Like what was like the thing that was like, you know what, I'm gonna give this a shot, see what happens?
I mean, it's just, I'm a really big, you know, like, I think personal practice matters. So like you and then Mark, your brother, I mean, I think I've talked to JoJo before too, but I just think you're a really good collection of humans. I got the impression that you're really genuinely trying to help. And what was really interesting for me is it really had me reflecting a lot on just like what I do. Kind of like, I'm over here with these people coming in, trying to really invite them into this opportunity to like really optimize their health, which does require a little bit of faith, you know. It also requires kind of like them and like being willing to invest in it. So, and I kind of felt like that was what was happening with us in a different way. It was like just in terms of my practice, like my practice being the patient. And so, and I just really, really felt like I was just at a point where I was like, sure, I feel like I trust this guy, I'll just do what he says. Because I was like, why not? I might as well just do what he says. And so that's kind of, and I keep, you know, and I'm absolutely, I can be a stubborn person, and I know this, but I've just been really trying to this whole time, like, to do the things that is suggested. Why not? I haven't done it before. See if it works.
No, you've crushed it too. You've absolutely crushed it. Like, you took a lot of initiative before we started working together to like follow the steps that I was giving you, and like I was like, hey, this is what I would do if I was in your spot, and like you just literally did all that stuff, and so that made it super easy. Can you tell me about the referral campaign, the results? Because I know that was kind of like one of the things that we launched before we started working together, before we partnered together, and that went pretty well, and it gave us the momentum to kick things off. But
yes, and that I actually like really impressed by. So you basically, I happen to have high level the software already that I utilize in my office to text people. So I had a way to mass text my patients, and then you gave me the language for like what to say. And so I was like, all right, I'll spend like 15 minutes, you know, I'll just get this all set up and send it out. And I was like really impressed at like how quickly people responded. Like I gave away every single one of the, you know, the coupons or whatever. I think you said 7. But I mean, it happened within like 2 hours. And I was really impressed by the people that did respond, because some of them are like patients that have been with me for a long time and they never respond to anything, you know. So there's something about the languaging, and then, you know, like the people came in, and so it was just like, I don't know, I was just really impressed. I was like, oh, okay, so if this is something that I was like, if this is something these guys are willing to just like let me try on my own without me like technically being your client yet, I was like, I'm impressed if that worked that well, you know. So it's like, what else?
Let's go.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I think one of the best things about it is that you have patients that are like, they're literally buying a card for a friend. Like, people are going to refer like their like only people they know are going to be like the perfect fits for your practice. Like, like they're not going to spend their own money to refer some random dude off the street. Like, it really is like spouse, family members, you know, kid, that kind of deal. So I love that. Okay, yeah, and like, where are you at right now? Like, I'd love to hear like a little bit, just briefly, and then we can kind of wrap this up. But like, where are you at right now as far as your practice? Like, more so, like, I know we're still in this of kicking things off, like working together now, is like with the advertising side and that kind of deal. Like literally past couple weeks. But where are you at as far as the like mentality that you're taking, the energy you have in practice? Like, how has that changed as a result of like us diving in and working together, kind of giving you next steps?
I mean, honestly, one of the biggest takeaways I've gotten from you guys that I just like, so I know I've mentioned this to you, Gonstead, and I know that like I highly recommend just like looking at this guys up, or I could give you some. There's like this book called like Meadowlands or whatever. That's like a little tiny book that he wrote that I keep in my office. But anyways, sales. So yeah, it's just like, it was just like, I don't know. I just was in this. I guess we met at the perfect time, but it was just, you know, sales. I really do absolutely agree, and it's something that I've taken from you guys, is that being good at sales is good no matter what you do. It's just a good skill, period. And so it was just, I started changing, tweaking, just like really subtle things, like nothing crazy, but I just was like talking to patients differently and trying to create, you know, I would just pause instead of like rushing through saying something, based off some feedback I got from you guys, and these like little tiny things really. So it was just, I got like the referral campaign, but I also started just like modifying like little things of how I was talking to patients. I just found that I had a greater, higher level of commitment from people, and just really kind of starting to like, I guess you could say like take ownership for it. Like, I don't know, I guess words aren't coming to me perfectly, but it just really, so what happened is like, even though over the last couple of months, like I've had an increase in like, you know, the number of packages I've sold, increase the number of patients, increase in referrals in general, just because I'm like behaving differently. And so, and it's like with everything that you guys recommend, I'm like, well, might as well do the other stuff you're recommending.
Let's go.
So,
no, it's been awesome. Okay. No, I love that. Like, sales is literally like the pauses, all those things, like they seem so minute, but it just makes you a bit more confident. And like, if you exert confidence, like if you exert a lack of confidence in money, in how we speak to patients, they're going to assume you're like you don't have confidence in the fact that you can help them, when that might not be what like the lack of confidence is in. And so if you have that certainty, like patients like, oh, they actually can help me get from here to here in this amount of time. So big. Okay. No, that's awesome. What would you, and last question, like what would you tell somebody watching this right now, thinking about doing their referral campaign, trying to figure out like, hey, should I trust these guys? Because we get a lot of those, like, hey, I don't know if I should trust this random company that messaged me about running a referral campaign, launching this stuff, that kind of deal. Like, is there anything you would say to kind of?
I still have moments, I'm not going to lie, where I'm texting, because I feel like what's happened was just we just sort of like added a little bit at a time. Yeah. And now I feel like I'm doing all the things with you guys. Mm-hmm. And it is nerve-wracking because it is like an investment. Yeah. I have to just remember that it's sort of like I'm that patient that like has some kind of like chronic health problem that like really wants it to resolve, but is like terrified to like, you know, that's kind of like, yeah, but I mean, that's kind of honestly like how I've been looking at it, is like I'm like at a point where it's like I might as well just take the risk or whatever. And so far, like every detail about, like I just started running ads, and I've so far had 2 of those patients come in, but just like the quality of the patient so far, and I mean it's just been 2 of them, so we'll see. However, they're like really good quality people. Like so I feel like the languaging you guys use and just like how you're communicating with people seems to be really effective. So I'm just really impressed by that. And so it's making me feel more kind of like, even though there's part of it, but that's just how I am about like spending money. That's also just probably like anything. Yeah. And it's not even like it's that crazy, but I was telling Mark the other day, it's like the amount of people that have booked right now, we've had like 1 person reschedule so far, but so be it. It's like if I can just get 2 of those many to commit to care, then it like more than pays for itself. And hopefully I'll do more too. And I mean like 2 per week is what I'm saying. Hopefully it'll be more than 2 per week. So it's just like, but it all works out. So I don't know. I guess I would just say if you're nervous, like that's okay. And I think that in general, what I learned, and it's, even though I know this, like when I get really kind of scared, that means that I'm sort of like on a good trajectory. And so I'm trying to lead into that a little bit. Okay, you know, like, and so I mean, everything that's happened so far has like been great. Like I've been consistently impressed by every like thing that I've done with you guys. Yeah. And like how it's benefiting my practice. I don't know if I should talk about other stuff, but like the review campaign is like really impressive.
Let's go.
Yeah, that was really cool. I was like really stoked about that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go pick up my frames today, so I'm actually gonna put up like a testimonial wall in my office. So like that's just like another idea, you know. So I'm just like, all right. So.